Hey guys, welcome back to the Far Look channel, and here we have the Reynet show, where we're going to highlight pop culture and a couple other things, so let's get straight to it. The biggest news of the day is specifically that Netflix has bought Warner Brothers. Now, it's not the entire catalog, but it is a massive chunk of their entertainment, and I think that the repercussions for this are massive. It is a $82.7 billion purchase. We saw a couple clips of it earlier in the news, a couple statements and things, that there was talks of other companies trying to buy Warner Brothers and a couple other things like that, but they weren't for sale. Well, I guess Netflix didn't take no for an answer. They just kept increasing and increasing the bid offer, and Warner Brothers never really flat out said no. They seem to have been intrigued and interested the entire time. So what exactly does that mean? Now, Netflix owns CNN and TNT. There's a whole bunch of normal cable television stuff, including the news, that they now own. So we're seeing an entire shift and change. Ever since the COVID fiasco in 2020, we saw that streaming had completely basically killed cable. Ever since Disney acquired Comcast and acquired Fox, they've become a monopoly. In recent events, they've even grabbed the entire catalog of the Hulu shows and the Hulu entertainment. So that means that they have even more than ever before. So we're seeing these two companies, Netflix and Disney, really kind of battling it out for who can acquire more things. It's almost strange to see these massive companies not being brought down by any monopoly laws, because technically it's still legal, right? So if everything is for sale, what does that mean for the DC universe? What does that mean for the James Gunn verse that he's forming? And what does that mean for the comics? There's a lot of news specifically about how they're going to acquire the Cartoon Network, they're going to acquire Adventure Time, regular show, all of the normal Warner Brothers stuff, including the DC universe. So Netflix stock has dipped over these concerns, and there's a bunch of heavy debt associated with it, a couple risks. So there's industry rivals watching around and just kind of warning that the deal could reduce competition. Again, this is going to streamline the streaming process even more. Instead of having over 1,000 streaming options, it's just going to be Netflix or Disney. That's kind of insane if you really think about it. It always goes back down to red versus blue, it's always Pepsi versus Coca-Cola, and it seems like it's not even Netflix, Hulu, HBO, and none of that. Now it's just going to be straight up Netflix and Disney. And with Disney integrating AI software and AI fan content, which is just garbage, I bet you Walt Disney himself is rolling in his grave ever since they announced that they were going to introduce that. That was a terrible move by Bob Iger, by the way. Nonetheless, now we have even less options. Netflix has purchased a whole catalog of video games and stuff and apps to promote on their app, on their website, and on their service. So now the platform is branching out into massive proportions. Now we're seeing them kind of seep their way into the mainstream in ways that were never even mentioned before. So we're seeing video games being taken over, we're seeing entire franchises and IP being taken over, and we're seeing the competition of new content completely going away. Alright, so here we see from Netflix.com themselves, we get the news that reads, Netflix to acquire Warner Brothers following the separation of Discovery Global for a total enterprise of value of $82.7 billion, equity value of $72.0 billion. So they literally buy out the entire Warner Brothers Discovery lot. They literally announced this today, December 5th, 2025. So the transaction unites Warner Bros. Iconic franchises and storied libraries with Netflix's leading entertainment service, creating an extraordinary offering for customers. Netflix to maintain Warner Bros. Current operations. Combination will offer more choice and greater value of consumers, create more opportunities for the creative community, and generate shareholder value. Acquisition will strengthen the entertainment industry. So basically, DC might be cooked, and also you're going to have to pay way more for your Netflix subscription now, so get ready for that bill. Hollywood, California, December 5th. So today, Netflix Inc., the company, and Warner Brothers Discovery Inc. announced they have entered into a definitive agreement under which Netflix will acquire Warner Brothers, including its film and television studios, HBO Max, and HBO. The cash stock transaction is valued at $27.75 per Warner Brothers Discovery share, subject to a collar as detailed below. With a total enterprise value of approximately $82.7 billion, the transaction is expected to close after the previously announced separation of WBD's Global Networks division, Discovery Global, into a new publicly traded company, which is now expected to be completed in Q3 2026. So here's the important one. So the acquisition brings together two pioneering entertainment businesses, combining Netflix's innovation, global reach, and best-in-class streaming services with Warner Brothers' century-long legacy of world-class storytelling. Beloved franchises, shows, and movies such as The Big Bang Theory, The Sopranos, Game of Thrones, The Wizard of Oz, and the DC Universe will join Netflix's extensive portfolio, including Wednesday, Money Heist, Bridgerton, Adolescence, and Extraction, creating an extraordinary entertainment offering for audiences worldwide. So here is a little quote from their CEO of Netflix saying that our mission has always been to entertain the world, said Ted Sarandos, co-CEO of Netflix. By combining Warner Brothers' incredible library of shows and movies, from timeless classics such as Casablanca and Citizen Kane, to modern favorites like Harry Potter and Friends. With our culture-defining titles like Stranger Things, K-pop Demon Hunters, and Squid Game, we'll be able to do that even better. Together we can give audiences more of what they love and help define the next century of storytelling. This acquisition will improve our offering and accelerate our business for decades to come, continued Greg Peters, the co-CEO of Netflix. Warner Brothers has helped define entertainment for more than a century and continues to do so with phenomenal creative executives and production capabilities. With our global reach and proven business model, we can introduce a broader audience to the worlds they create, giving our members more options, attracting more fans to our best-in-class streaming service, strengthening the entire entertainment industry and creating more value for shareholders. Today's announcement combines two of the greatest storytelling companies in the world to bring even more people into the entertainment that they love to watch the most, said David Z., President and CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery. For more than a century, Warner Bros. Has thrilled audiences, captured the world's attention, and shaped our culture. By coming together with Netflix, we ensure people everywhere will continue to enjoy the world's most resonant stories for generations to come. So here's some of the actual combinations that they'll offer: more choice, more opportunities, and more value. They literally listed it out as bullet points. So I'll make sure to link this article below just so you guys could check it out. But basically, they're going to have all of the HBO programs mixed in with all of the Netflix library. They're going to try to strengthen the entertainment industry. However, as we know, this is actually dividing it even more. So the illusion of choice is completely shattered. We're now fully seeing only two massive companies owning everything. In June 2025, WBD announced plans to separate its streaming and studios and global networks divisions into two separate publicly traded companies. This separation is now expected to be completed in 2026. Prior to the closing of this transaction, the newly separated public traded company holding the global networks division, Discovery Global, and will include premier entertainment, sports, news, and television brands around the world, including CNN, TNT, sports in the US, and Discovery, free-to-air channels across Europe, and digital products such as Discovery Plus and Bleacher Report. So again, basically, we're going to have to start paying them more just for them to continue just being Netflix. This is pretty insane. So like I said, I'm going to link all of the information below because this is a very lengthy document. It's got a whole bunch of stuff. It's got other information, other specifics, more about the prices, and more of the emails and contacts. So just keep in mind, this is real. And this is going to kind of make, the decision between Disney or Netflix even harder, because there's even less. Now that there's no HBO Max, now that there's basically no Hulu, it's literally just Disney versus Netflix. So who knows whether this will be a drop in quality for the DCU? Who knows whether this will be a drop in quality of everything, or will it be good? I want you guys to tell me below, is DC cooked? Is Netflix gonna be bigger than Disney? What are your guys' thoughts? Comment below, share, like, and subscribe, and on with the video. It's a landmark takeover in the industry. The deal value in its entirety, the full amount that was disclosed, and probably it's going to be a little bit more with taxes, but it's $82.7 billion when including the debt that Netflix has. One of the biggest media acquisitions ever. This is unheard of before. So Warner Brothers cable networks like CNN, TNT, they'll be spun off into separate companies, and the sale closes expecting around 2026. So not only do we have basically self-driving cars, and not only have they announced, walking robots to fold your laundry, X takeover, and all these things. So now we just have a streamline of YouTube, Disney, and Netflix. It's going to get really tough out there. The competition is going to be insane. And with Instagram and TikTok really being the only other sources of media, it's going to be even more difficult to even branch out or be recognized as an artist, as a creator, or in general as a customer. It's going to be very difficult now. You're going to have to be searching and scrolling through the apps for hours to even find the one thing that you're interested in watching. It's going to be insane. So the last time we saw something of this size was when Disney acquired Comcast and Fox. And that was massive news. Not only did they acquire stuff like the X-Men, stuff like the Fantastic Four, which we're grateful after seeing the successful movies such as First Steps and Deadpool, Wolverine, and stuff like that. So all these things are pretty massive. What does that mean exactly for the comics? So we've seen a bit of crossover with the comics nowadays. There's these massive issues and massive launches, but it seems like these companies are a little less interested in the original material than the actual production of movies and things. We're seeing James Gunn promote the Superman sequel, and we're seeing Supergirl getting teased. We're seeing a whole bunch of new stuff coming out that we're not really sure of. And Disney's cranking out the Marvel wheel again. We have the Kevin Feige lineup where Doomsday, Secret Wars, and all these other things. It seems like it's becoming a really massive shift in entertainment. We're just getting a whole bunch of the exact same things that we've gotten before, repackaged in a massive way and just shoved in our faces. I think we kind of have to see and be careful in what exactly is going to happen. I don't think that they know full well what will transition, but we're seeing the comics rebooting things again and again. This year alone, we've gotten multiple Ultimate Spider-Man's Ultimate Universe titles from Marvel, which they did again before in the 90s. Speaking of the 90s, we got The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller. That was basically a darker, larger, bulkier version of Batman, which this year we've seen something similar happen again with Absolute Batman and the entire Absolute Universe series in DC. They've announced that Scott Snyder is going to be writing a Plastic Man. Who knows? There's a couple of different things, and people are ecstatic about the Absolute Universe because it is a darker tone. It is a new kind of spin on everything that we've seen before. But is it good for comics? I mean, we're getting its 10th reprint of Absolute Batman #1. We're also getting an entire reprint and a massive takeover for the first Batman #1 title in over, I think, 20 years. It's been a while. We're getting a bunch of crossover things such as Deadpool and versus Batman, and we see Wolverine on the cover as well. So on the comic side, it seems like we're just going to be cranking out the same material that we've gotten before, redoing them, repackaging them, and just sending them our way. However, I think that now that we have the massive financial backing of Netflix and the massive financial backing of Disney, there's a bunch of crossovers happening on in the comics. People really love the whole multiverse or different universe ideas. It's become fully mainstream now, especially thanks to the Spider-Verse movies and Multiverse of Madness and stuff like that. But with Doomsday, with Secret Wars becoming even more massive in terms of the catalog of cast, we've literally seen the snippets and the screenshots of everyone who's in these movies. It's completely insane. It's everyone we've ever seen for the past decade and a half are going to be, again, just placed in the roster. We saw the massive lineup of movie chairs of every cast member. This is insane. I think we've seen Ian McKellen return as Magneto in screenshots. We've seen him, I think Robert Downey keeps just teasing the constant, Doctor Doom, Iron Man transition. And I think they're kind of forgetting about making new content. These companies just keep kind of literally just beating the dead horse until it stops working. They haven't innovated in over 20 years, and it's been a while since we get something brand new. We keep getting spin-offs and continuations of things that they've already established, such as Daredevil Born Again, such as Ironheart, and all these things, but the newer materials are kind of getting forgotten. There's a little bit of a discrepancy with the material itself because although fans do seem to like it, there is a bit of a shortcoming because most of the indie titles, such as Invincible, are getting high praise due to the animated spin-offs, but is it any good? I think right now comics is in a weird place. It's more about selling the same characters and IP that have been established through animation, through video games, and all that stuff, and we just keep getting the same things over and over again. Will it be good for the entertainment industry? I think there is such a thing as superhero fatigue. We're getting tired of it, but to be honest, these companies will have to push themselves even further. Without making anything new, Netflix and Disney might even make this crazy crossover event between the two companies. Who knows? But we're finally getting a return to brighter colors, a little bit more fun and action-packed than before. The black and white, gritty, dark, monotone, ugly, monochromatic, grayscale Snyderverse is finally basically dead. He's continued to post random pictures and screenshots from when he was filming those movies, but I think that James Gunn is going to bring a lot of new, fresh ideas. He's been teasing who's going to be the Batman cast member for a couple months now. He just keeps playing with different actors in mind and stuff, but he keeps pushing that aside. He keeps also emphasizing that there are specific things that fans want. The fans want the yellow symbol, they want the blue costume with the gray, and they want the white eyes. Honestly, I agree. I think we have had a dark, gritty Batman for way too long. I think it's time to return to the roots of the comics, just like we did with Superman and Fantastic Four. We need a little bit more of that just Jack Kirby dynamism, bold neon colors, stuff that honestly James Gunn is very aware of. That's the only good thing going for this, is that at least we have a decent visionary leading the team. Similar to Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers, we have a decent setup for these events. Now, will they handle it well? Who knows? But the Secret Wars, the Doomsdays, all this stuff seems like it might be pretty solid. We have to see what they do. It's a shame that every movie and every show that comes out is no longer a standalone thing and is only made in order to build something else up, to set the stage for something else. I believe that the Fantastic Four movie, though it was very good compared to the other ones, it's a shame that they really rushed through the plot. They killed off some of the characters that could have been better, but they basically made the characters useless and they rushed through plot points to get across to the end of the movie because all they really wanted to do was set up Doomsday. Are we back in a golden age of movies like the Infinity War saga? I don't think so. It's hard to tell currently where we are, but I think it might be worth watching because now that we have the two most massive companies fighting it out on a global stage, I think anything is possible. I think we're going to get way more crossovers. I think we're going to get a ton more strange spin-off shows and titles and things, because Netflix is really going to try to become the next Disney corporation. And these streaming services are going to really try to duke it out to see who is on top. What do you guys think about this? Do you care? Does it actually think, do you think this is going to be anything good or anything bad? I think it's kind of crazy though. Netflix buys Warner Brothers. There's a lot of things that aren't fully integrated yet. It's not the entire roster, but it is basically a massive chunk of it. And I don't know, I think this is going to prepare the stage for something bigger getting closer to 2026. Let me know what you guys think. This has been Reynet from Farlock Studios, signing off.